Red and blue lights flashing across my barn. Now that's a sight you don't ever forget, especially when it's your own land lighting up like a full-blown crime scene, all because Karen, well, Miranda, but if you've met her, you know what I mean, decided to call 911 and start screaming about dangerous activity on private property. What she didn't realize, not for a second, was that she was the one trespassing on federally protected land. Land I'd spent 2 years fighting for home to a breed of Mustang, so rare you could count them on your fingers. County sheriff rolls in first, all business. Then federal agents, then, believe it or not, the FBI. She's wailing, "You can't do this to me." But we already had enough evidence to charge her with 5 federal crimes before she could even process what was happening. This was no longer some petty HOA drama. This was a federal case, the kind that makes your neighbors pull their blinds down and pretend they can't see you when you check your mail. You know what's funny? I never thought a barn alarm would start a war, but that's exactly what happened on that cold October morning right after sunrise. There I am, same as every morning since Emma and Sophie left this world, talking to Thunder, my old rescue stallion, about absolutely nothing, scratching behind his ears, just soaking in the silence. Sometimes I swear that horse is the only living soul who understands me around here. That's when I hear it, the click-clack of heels on gravel so sharp and precise it could wake the dead. And around the corner struts Miranda Whitlock, Sunset Ridge's answer to a dictator, all done up in her black blazer, clipboard in hand. Not a hair out of place. "Good morning, Wyatt," she says. "So sweet you could pour her over pancakes. Hope you're having a wonderful day, because I have some important HOA business to discuss with you regarding compliance violations on your property." I just set Thunder's bucket down, turned to face her. I'd learned a long time ago, back before the accident when I was a wildlife biologist, how to keep my voice calm when dealing with people who think rules are the answer to everything. She holds up this official-looking document, announces the HOA's updated noise ordinance. My barn alarm system, now in violation of Section 4.2b, excessive decibel levels during quiet hours, 72 hours to remove it or face $500 a day in fines. That's when I realized she wasn't just here on a power trip. Something else was going on. "Miranda," I said, "when exactly did the HOA board vote on this? I don't remember getting any notice. And state law says we're supposed to get 30 days. For a split second, her mask slipped just enough for me to see panic flicker in her eyes before she snapped right back, voice all business, talking about emergency session, multiple complaints, property values. Thing is, I had the HOA bylaws open on my phone in about 5 seconds. Emergency or not, you gotta notify residents. Last email I got was about a picnic 3 months back. Now here's where it gets good. Jake Morrison, my neighbor, retired cop, chooses this moment to walk over, voice calm but eyes sharp. "Everything okay over here?" Miranda tries to shift gears, but Jake doesn't bite. He knows what's up. When I ask for minutes for the vote records for proof of these so-called complaints, her clipboard shakes. "I don't have to provide you with anything, Wyatt Thompson," she snaps, but Jake just smiles, says, "Transparency is the law." She storms off, heels kicking up dust, leaving behind nothing but perfume and tension. After she's gone, Jake pulls out his phone. Old habits. Right. "Wyatt," he says, "people who refuse paperwork usually don't have it. Might want to check your cameras tonight." He was right, and it wasn't paranoia, not anymore. Fast forward to 2:30 a.m. I'm dead asleep first. Good sleep in weeks when Thunder goes ballistic, screaming like the barn's on fire. I drag myself out of bed, throw on my old robe, the one Emma always teased me about. Thunder's not a horse to spook easy, so I know something's wrong. I limp over to the window, see a shadow by the barn bolt cutters glinting in the motion sensor lights. And even in the dark, you can tell designer clothes, that same helmet of hair, Miranda. Guess legal channels were too slow for her taste. I grab my phone, pull up the cameras Jake helped me install, and there she is, working on my barn door like she's breaking into Fort Knox. She pops the lock, slips inside, and heads straight for the alarm system. What's wild is the expression on her face. She's not scared, she's excited. Like she's waited her whole life for this, taking a screwdriver to my panel with the determination of a toddler throwing a tantrum. Suddenly, every alarm goes off. Temperature, motion, backup power, you name it. The barn turns into a disco, Miranda screaming curses you wouldn't believe, horses losing their minds. And then in the chaos, she drops a little USB drive that skitters right into Thunder's stall. Jake shows up, looking like he's about to reenact an episode of Cops. "Miranda, what the hell are you doing?" he yells. She freezes, tries to spin it, says she's protecting the community from dangerous activities. Jake just laughs. "These are horses, Miranda. Legal horses. Eating legal horse food. And you just committed a felony." What Miranda didn't know every second was being recorded from 3 angles, and that USB, turns out it was a treasure chest of HOA secrets. But before we get to that, Detective Johnson shows up. Miranda's already cleaned up, sitting on my porch like some victim attorney in tow. She weaves a tale about suspicious activities, tries to play the hero. But Jake has the video. And when Johnson sees it, Miranda vandalizing my barn, screaming threats, cussing me out, her story falls apart. Then Dr. Elena Rodriguez arrives, my old conservation partner, checking on the animals, confirming their traumatized federal-level trauma, the kind that comes with real penalties. The real twist. That USB. Agent Chen from Wildlife Protection drops by with a laptop. The drive holds months of emails between Miranda and Sunset Development, bribes, plans to harass me, fake meetings, forged HOA records. She'd been embezzling from the HOA, paying herself to target me, using the Community Improvement Fund as her personal piggy bank. The next morning, Miranda's back at it, cutting a lock on the federally protected paddock. Alarms go off, lights flashing red and blue. Every law enforcement agency in the county and a few from out of state shows up. Miranda's still dialing 911, tries to frame me for who knows what. Only now she's the one standing in restricted habitat, surrounded by endangered mustangs. Agent Chen reads her the riot act, sheriffs taking notes, lawyers making calls he doesn't want to make, and everyone knows who the real criminal is. Then comes the real show. Jake's live stream goes viral, millions watching as the HOA president gets caught red-handed on federal property ranting about conspiracies. Her lawyer quits. News vans circle the block. And what does Miranda do? Calls a press conference, paints herself as the victim, claims, "I'm part of some government land grab." Right in the middle, Jake drops a bomb, uploads a documentary with every detail, her midnight crime spree, the bribes, the stalking, the forged records, the insults, everything. The crowd turns. Agent Chen walks in, reads the charges. Miranda's face falls apart on live TV. "I just wanted someone to need me," she says as they put her in cuffs. After that, it all unravels. The HOA is dissolved, replaced by a volunteer co-op. My little rescue operation becomes a conservation center, school kids coming by the busload, learning about wildlife instead of HOA rules. Jake turns citizen journalist, teaching people how to hold officials accountable. Elena's research on the horses gets cited in Congress. Thunder the horse becomes a YouTube celebrity. Don't ask me how, but apparently people love watching a retired cop talk philosophy with a horse. And Miranda, she does 18 months in federal prison, comes out and writes me a letter apologizing, asking to volunteer at the center. I let her under strict conditions because sometimes justice means giving someone a chance to make amends, not just punishing them for screwing up. Redemption isn't easy, but when I saw her mucking out stalls teaching kids about conservation, it felt right. Sometimes the best revenge isn't seeing someone suffer, it's watching them change for the better. Maybe you've faced someone like Miranda. Maybe you've been her once or twice. Either way, share your story below. Let's talk about justice, about community, about second chances, because sometimes that's the only way forward. And hey, if you got something out of this, like, subscribe, join the conversation. We're building something real here, one wild story at a time.